السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وأرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه وأدخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين آمين يا رب العالمين. أهلا وسهلا everybody, welcome to day 2 of our علم الفرائد. So alhamdulillah, الأسبوع الماضي, last week, you're going to have to excuse me, I have a bit of a cough. Last week alhamdulillah we started our next lecture series on علم الفرائد, which is the science of inheritance. And we called it not yours to decide, right? Intentionally, because a lot of people, we said that they have an issue on how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala distributed these. And we said, this is not something ijtihadi. This is not something that the ulama got together and they decided this is how much. And we said that this is one of this is something qat'i, meaning it's fixed, nobody can change it. And there's a wisdom behind the fractions and the distribution. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He Himself took care of that one. So it is something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, legislated from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we don't have a say in that. طيب. And last week we covered, we introduced the ilm. We went over the ayat in Surah An-Nisa, صح? يوصيكم الله في أولادكم. And then we, all the way to the second page, which covered the husband and the wife and what they get, and the brothers and the sisters. And we said, someone who wants to study fara'id, they need to be familiar with those verses. And so we just went through the translation and the meanings, and we were introduced to the fractions. And today, inshallah, we'll go in a bit more depth. We also covered some ahadith about al-fara'id, and we said that the Prophet ﷺ, what did he recommend about fara'id? He said, ta'allamu wa'allimu, like learn and teach al-fara'id. And we also said that al-fara'id is what? What's unique about ilm al-fara'id? It's the first. Yeah, the Prophet ﷺ said it's the first ilm to be forgotten. So this should be an extra encouragement for us to learn ilm al-fara'id. It is one of the knowledges that people forget very fast, and very few people understand it. Okay. طيب. What else we said? We said that we compared inheritance in in Islam versus other faiths and other communities, and how Islam actually, especially the children and the women, the Islam came and actually gave them huquq, gave them a piece of the pie. What else we covered? We covered, we responded to some of the doubts, right? Some of the doubts that people bring up. And then we finished with the Tarika, with the estate. How do we divide the estate? Let's quickly go through some Q&As, inshallah. I don't have some candy today, inshallah, but I'll make it up for you, inshallah, next time. So just true or false. So number one, we said, so just tell me if this is true or false. So question one, the Prophet ﷺ encouraged Muslims to learn and teach the laws of inheritance. Yes. True? طيب, جميل. Pre-Islamic inheritance systems often exclude women and young children. Pre-Islamic inheritance systems often exclude women and young children. It's true. We said that pre-Islamic. The faiths and the groups before Islam, they usually excluded women. Women did not really have a qisma. طيب. Islam always gives men twice the share of women in every inheritance case. False. Give an example where the woman and men don't get, the man doesn't get double the woman.
Mother and son. The father and the sister and the daughter.
Give me the simplest example we mentioned last week.
When the parents.
The parents. وَلِأَبَوَيْهِ لِكُلِّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْهُمَا السُّدُسُ. Remember? The parents, they will get a sudus if there's no in kana lahu walad. In kana lahu walad, each one will get a sudus, a sixth. Okay? So that's the simplest case, right? Where they will get exactly the same. So it's not, Islam did not come and say that the male always deserves double. No, in some cases, and we talked about why and the hikmah behind that. طيب, when we talk about the tarika, the estate, that includes only cash and bank balances left behind by the deceased. True or false? False, right? It's more. Everything that the deceased owns, that's part of the estate, part of the tarika. It's not just the cash and what's in the bank. Time number 5, debts of the deceased must be paid before the heirs receive their shares. True. And the last thing, someone tell me the order we go through the estate. So the person just died. What's the first thing we do? We mentioned 4 things. The first thing is before the death. Let's bury him, miskin. Yeah, let's wash him and bury him first. So takfeen, right? The expenses for the funeral. That's number 1. Number 2, the debts. The debts. So number 1 is we bury him, all the expenses for the burial. Then we have the debts. Number 3 is the wasiyah, the will. Okay, maximum 1/3 that was already written. And then after that we do the inheritance. This is where we are right now. Jamil. Type. Today we want to cover the pillars of inheritance, al-Arkan, Shurut, al-Asbab, and the Mawani. We want to cover the Mawani. And then we're going to talk about the types of inheritors, the type of heirs. And then I'm going to kind of list all of them for you. The male ones, the female ones. And the approach we're going to take is we're going to go through the fractions and who gets each fraction. And this is probably the most important part for you to memorize. You need to memorize these very well to be able to go to the next step when we start actually doing some masail. Okay? The most difficult part about Faraid, if you don't have any anxiety with math, is really just memorizing who gets what and what are the conditions. Who gets what and what are the conditions. Okay? That's the most difficult part. So inshallah we'll go through it step by step. Bismillah. طيب, so أركان al-Fara'id. So for when we say Arkan, what do we mean by rukun? Something that the foundation, right? Something that has to be there in order for us to have to actually give the tarika, the inheritance. Okay? So all 3 pillars must be there together. Jamil, can you think of what's one of them? What has to be there? Yeah, we have to have a dead person, obviously. Someone has to die. And then if he hasn't died, we can't give the inheritance away. Al-Muwarrith is the deceased. Al-Muwarrith is the deceased, the person whose estate is being inherited. Inheritance begins only after death, actual death or legal declared death. Okay? Also, we talked about al-Mafqud. Al-Mafqud, the one who is lost, the one who drowns, the pregnant, the khuntha. What's khuntha in Arabic? English, I'm trying to remember the khuntha. Intersexual? No, it's what do they call the khuntha? Huh? لا al-khuntha. لا, al-khuntha is basically, there's a word, the person who is, طبعا there's 2 types of khuntha, al-mushkil wa ghayr al-mushkil. Someone who could be male or female. And sometimes it happens, this is very rare, where the baby is born with the 2 organs. Tamam? And sometimes you can figure it out early, and sometimes you can't. So that's where they have a whole chapter on that. So and all these unique they're covered in the end. Okay? They're covered in the end. Why did I bring that up? Why did I bring that up? Yeah, hermaphrodite is one of the words. Yeah. Intersex, yeah, intersex. That's the word I was thinking about. Yeah, so it's not the transsexual. Then the transsexual is someone who changed their gender. Tamam? The hermaphrodite, like there's a real hermaphrodite and the opposite, and the one that's not real hermaphrodite. Because you could have a case where, I believe, Allahu A'lam, where both organs work. The ulama in the past, if they have two private parts, whichever one the baby urinates from, that's the one, and then they will do surgery on him, and then he will be that gender. Wallahu a'lam. And those are covered later, and you can see why that's problematic, because how are you going to split the inheritance? Also, al-mafqud, yeah, that's why I was talking about this. Al-mafqud, the one who's lost, right? Legally, if someone doesn't appear again, there's a period of time until the judge will say, khalas, we consider him dead. So you find this in the books of fiqh. طبعا nowadays, it's more rare, but back in the day, we have Hajj season soon, right? I think they just announced the Dhul Hijjah starting. They just announced it, right? Yeah, so Arafah is going to be Tuesday. Eid is Wednesday, inshallah. So, yeah, back in the day, someone goes for Hajj. He might not come back. SubhanAllah. So actually, some of the books of fiqh mentioned that people would go and they would actually do their wasiyah. They, get all their inheritance ready. If they don't come back after this many months, khalas, consider me gone, dead. But al-mafqud has his own. So the first thing is who died, Al-Muwarrith, right? So that has to be there. If nobody dies, there's no inheritance. Tamam? The second one is Al-Warith, the one who inherits, the heirs, okay? The beneficiaries or the heirs, okay? The inheritors, tamam? Heir, inheritor, synonymous. So the person legally entitled to inherit, the heir must be alive at the moment of the deceased's death. So, okay, they say if you the person who's going to be really good at Faraid, is the one who kills everybody, and he always imagines this person dies. This is how many he's going to get. This person dies. Let's just use me for example now. If my child was to inherit, if I passed away or when I pass away, in order for my child to inherit or my wife to inherit, they have to be what? They have to be alive when I pass away. Tamam? It's kind of obvious, but this is important to know, that the person has to be alive, the inheritor, the warith, has to be alive when the deceased passes away. Tamam? When the muwarrith passes away. And we mentioned also the unborn baby. What about him? Yeah, until we make sure, okay? But as long as the ruh was blown in, we say about 4 months, then he will be considered in the Tarika. As long as we wait until he's born, we make sure he's high, then he gets part of that. But if he's just 1 month, is he alive yet? No, so he won't inherit. So and then we have the first pillar is al-Muwarrith, the deceased. Second, al-Warith, the heir. Anybody want to guess the third? The actual Tarika, right? Okay. Al-Mawruth, the estate, right? So we have the deceased, the heir, and the estate. Tamam. So if there's no estate, there's no Tarika. The person died with nothing, khalas, easy. Nothing gets done, right? So that's the property or right left behind by the deceased. Without an estate, there may be eligible heirs, but there is nothing to distribute. Tamam. You might have the person dying, you have the heirs, but there's nothing to distribute. Khalas, that's it. There's nothing there. So then these are the 3 pillars of inheritance. Any of these are not there, then we don't have we don't have a mas'ala, we don't have any inheritance. Tamam? Any questions here? Cool. Easy. طيب, let's go now to the next 3. So the next 3 are the conditions of inheritance. الشرط الأول, okay, is confirmed death of the deceased. Obviously, so we have to confirm that he's dead. The only gray area here is what? What could be the gray area? The lost person and what else? Yeah, so, well, someone who's like on life support. Or yani, he's brain dead. صح? So do we consider him dead or not? This is where yani, there's difference of opinion. Okay? And obviously the safest thing is just to wait until they turn off the machine if they decide to or not. That's another mas'ala. Are you allowed to do it or not? We'll discuss that later, inshallah. So the death of the person leaving the estate must be established. And we have to make sure that he's dead. There can't be shak. Oh, I think he's dead. I can't think, The only way that there's a hukam, it comes from the judge if a person is missing. If a person is missing, then the judge will declare him dead after a specific period of time. So it could be hukman yani, or it could be haqiqatan. Haqiqatan yani, we actually have his body, he's dead. Hukman is when the judge says, khalas, this person has been missing for a long time, he's done. Okay? طيب. So if we don't confirm his death, can we distribute the money? No, we can't. صح? So that's the first shart, the first condition. Condition number 2 is the confirmed life of the heir at the time of death. And then we said before that from the Arkan is the heir, right? The Warith. And we have to confirm that he's alive at the time of the death of the deceased. So the heir must be alive when the deceased dies, even a brief moment of life matters. كيف يعني? يعني I died مثلا, and then literally 1 hour later my wife dies. What happens now? Does she inherit? Yes, she inherits. And then from her inheritance we do another mas'ala. We distribute again. Does that make sense? Because it's going to make a difference in numbers. Okay? Do you understand what I mean? So مثلا a car accident happens. Husband and wife are in the car. Husband dies at the scene, and then wife's taken to emergency, lives for another half hour. So then she inherits. Tamam? Accident happens, both of them die at the same time. Right? In the more advanced chapters of inheritance, they'll talk about like al-Gharqa, people who like drown. Mathalan, you have a ship, all of them drown at the same time. How do you do it, etc. That's more advanced. But for now, just understand that we have to confirm the life of the inheritor even for a second. Afwan. So if a son was alive when his father died, he inherits. If the son then dies, his own heirs receive his shares. Does that make sense? So yeah, we have if he was alive even for a minute, he will inherit, and then we will do inheritance for him. Yeah, the son now dies, and we have to look at his inheritors after that. طيب. Jamil. Obviously, if the son dies before the father, does he inherit? No. Tamam. So first we have to confirm the death of the deceased, and we have to confirm that the.
What happened to the children of the son? They don't inherit, or they consider as.
We're gonna see who inherits in a bit, inshallah. Okay. But we're gonna see that there's people who inherit and people who block. Okay, al-hajab, in the chapter of al-hajab, we're going to see who blocks who. But after we're done with these kind of technical topics, we're going to go through, inshallah, who inherits. You're going to see that there are about 15 male inheritors and about 10 female inheritors, inshallah. Okay, we're going to discuss those. بإذن الله تعالى. طيب. Yeah, the number 3 condition is the presence of a legal cause of inheritance. So there must be a known, recognized legal relationship between. We have to establish a relationship. This is the third shart. I have to establish that you are a son. I have to establish that you are a cousin. Like a uncle or a son of an uncle or a mother. Like we have to establish that because someone might come and claim, "Oh, I'm the son of such and such." It happens a lot here in the West, right? The son comes after 20 years. Well, this guy is my father. Okay, well, you have to prove it. Either by documentation, DNA, whatever it is, you have to prove that you are related to this person. Then the conditions. We have to make sure that the person died. We have to make sure that the inheritor is alive. And then we have to make sure that of the relationship between the inheritor and the deceased. واضح? So these are 3 conditions that have to be met for us to give the tarika. طيب. So we're done with the Arkan, the Shurut. Next we have the the asbab. Okay, sabab. Sabab is something that causes something. Tamam? So a cause creates eligibility to inherit. Without a recognized cause, a person cannot inherit regardless of how close they felt to the deceased. So the first one, so there's causes for inheritance. And now we're talking about what gives you the right to have inheritance. Does that make sense? In a general, I guess, or in a macro idea, what gives you the right to inherit? The first thing is what? Marriage. So marriage connects you to that person, and nikah. Okay? So a valid marriage contract creates inheritance rights between husband and wife, even if the marriage was not yet consummated. And even if it's just katb al-kitab was written, so consummation is not required, the valid contract is what counts. Tamam? Now the mas'ala is about, what about divorce? Tamam? What about revocable divorce? Does she inherit? Husband just told his wife, you are divorced for the first time. We haven't covered divorce yet, but I think most of us know the basic rulings. A husband told his wife, you are divorced. What's the ruling here? What happens? Are they still husband and wife?
Yes. If she's in the period, she inherits.
So the first talqa, the first divorce, they are still husband and wife. Okay? هذا طلاق رجعي. Revocable. Now she's on a waiting period. She stays in the house. And is she the wife of the husband? Yeah, she's the wife. She's still a wife. Okay? Then, if he dies now, does she inherit? No. طيب. He just told her, you are divorced for the third time. So he divorced her before, took her back in the iddah. Divorced her the second time, took her back. Now he divorced her the third time. This is an irrevocable divorce. Does she inherit now? He dies. So he said, you're divorced. This is the third time. She has to leave the house. They can't live together. They're haram for each other. He can't take her back. Sah. Now he dies. Does she take anything? No. Illa what? Except, we said, if someone is at the state of, he's in we mentioned this in the book of wills and in the gifts. If a person has a sickness, okay, and he knows he's going to die soon, and then he divorces the wife, okay, why would he do that? So she doesn't inherit. In this case, the qadi, most likely he will give her. Most likely he will give her. Why? Because you are, what do they call it when you have a, مرض مرض لا يرجى برؤه or someone who has a disease like cancer, like stage 5. No. Terminal illness, someone is supposed to die, or not supposed to die, Allah knows, but the doctor says you have 6 months. And now he says, do you know what? I want my children to get more. I don't like this woman, divorced. No, the Sharia will protect her. Okay? Right? This is another one on your list of women rights. Yeah? The Sharia will protect her and will give her inheritance. And the opposite is true as well. كيف The person has terminal illness. And then he goes and he marries a woman. Yeah? She wants some money. This guy is a millionaire. And she's like, oh, okay, I want to marry you. And then he marries her. Okay? In most cases, she will not inherit. She will not inherit because he married her knowing he's going to die, but so she can get some money out of the inheritance. This is obviously not fair for the inheritors. صح? It's not fair for the inheritors. طيب. So nikah is one of the first causes of inheritance. طيب. The second one is al-Nasab, and this is the main one. Al-Nasab, blood lineage. Then someone might ask you, who inherits? We said marriage links you, and then we have al-Nasab, lineage. Okay? So you have the ascendants. We're going to talk about this, but this is something that you should kind of picture in your head. I'm going to give you a kind of a visual to understand it. But think of the ascendants, descendants, and everybody else. Okay, so you have ascendants like from the top, father, grandfather, and grandfather, great-grandfather, and up, wa in ala. And then from the bottom, you have the son, the grandson, and you keep going. When I say we keep going, yani, if the father, if the person dies, his father is dead, who gets? The grandfather. Tamam? But if the father is alive, the father gets, the grandfather doesn't. Wadah? That's how you think about it. So we always look at the closest person first. So the father, the son. The father and the son are dead, grandfather, grandson. Wadah? This is how you think of inheritance. And then we have, let me just finish this one. Then you have, from the male side, you have the brothers. Okay? You have the brothers and the sisters. So you have the brothers and sisters. You have full brother from the mother's side, brother from the father's side, and same thing with the sisters. And then you have the uncle, paternal uncle, and his children. So these are all kind of blood lineage. From the maternal side, in general, they don't inherit, illa if there's something left. Okay, ulul arham, they generally don't inherit. So like your mom's brother, the cousins from that side, etc. They don't inherit except if there's something left. So we have here blood relatives may inherit through lineage. So ascendants, father, mother, grandparents, descendants, son, daughter, grandchildren, and the collateral, brothers, sisters, uncles, and nephews. واضح? Jamil, yeah. So this is about eligibility. كيف يعني? يعني you're eligible for inheritance, but somebody might block you. Then not everybody that has a nasab gets. Not everybody who is linked with nasab, with lineage, gets something. Because, like we said, the grandfather is blocked by the father. But if the father's not there, the grandfather. Tamam? Okay, the nephew, the son of your father's brother, okay, you're going to have to have an image. Think of your father's brother, your uncle, your paternal uncle, al-am, okay? The am's son, okay, he also inherits, but only if the am is, passes away. So specific people block each other. And then we said al-nikah wa nasab. What's the third thing you can think of? What's another thing that might link you to inheritance? I don't expect you to think about it, but think about it. What's the third thing? Let me ask you a question. Do slaves inherit? No, right? What about someone who frees a slave? If there's a slave and I freed him, okay, there's something called al-wala. إنما الولاء لمن أعتق. The story of Barira and Aisha رضي الله عنها. That al-wala liman a'taq. إيش al-wala? يعني there's like an allegiance. And the mu'tiq is who? The one who frees a slave. In Islam, the mu'tiq gets to inherit from the freed slave. إذن al-wala, okay? Al-wala in Sharia, basically, it's something that connects you and the slave that you freed, right? This is something that Islam rewards the one who frees a slave. Then if I free a slave, okay, and I know you're thinking, well, there's no slaves. There's probably slaves in some areas in the world, and there will be in the future, I'm pretty sure, when there's going to be a lot of wars and the time of Mahdi, etc. But I free a slave, then he becomes like a millionaire. Okay? I will be one of his inheritors, believe it or not. Okay? So, inshallah, if you have an opportunity, you'll be one of the inheritors, inshallah. So, إذن النكاح والنسب والولاء. Okay? Al-wala. So, a classical Islamic cause, a legal bond created when a person freed a slave. The freed could inherit from the freed person in certain cases. إنما الولاء لمن أعتق. This is the part of the hadith that is the dalil. طيب. Al-Mawani. What could block someone from inheritance? Think of some causes. نعم.
Like if a son kills his father.
So al-Qatl, yeah. When you watch like those CSI, etc., the first thing they look at is what? Like someone is there's a what do they call it? The insurance payout, etc., or the inheritance. يعني the Sharia will punish the inheritor for trying to speed it up. He's like, I gotta pay off my debts. Who has the most money? Yalla, assalamu alaikum. So the Sharia will actually punish, okay, that person by actually blocking now, because he tried to. Aslan he committed a major sin, al-Qatl, from the most serious offenses. What are some other things? Yeah, murtad, someone who leaves. You have a son, he leaves Islam, right? So he doesn't inherit. That's a punishment for that person as well. طيب, so Ar-Riq is basically slavery. So obviously a slave person cannot inherit, okay? طيب, because obviously he can't own. Remember we said the slave, al-abd, cannot own anything. So how can he inherit? Because whatever inherits is going to go to the owner. So he doesn't inherit. Tamam. But we talked about the will. If someone writes a will for him, the owner writes a will for him, that will go into the money that frees him. Okay? Every slave has a price, and that will go to the money that frees him. Tamam. Al-Qatl, killing. So if an heir kills the person from whom they would inherit, they are blocked from inheriting. Okay? وهذه قاعدة فقهية. They say whoever hastens something before its time may be punished by being deprived of it. تمام? And this is something that the Sharia has, so killing is prevented. تمام? وطبعا we're going to say qatl in general, but طبعا there's different kind of qatl. Is there a case where someone might kill and they'll still get inherit? Can you think of a case? Yeah, so someone defending himself, yeah, and the qadi can prove that this person was defending himself, he'll still inherit. The father and the son, they're having an argument. The father comes to stab the son, and then the son kills him. Something like that. Okay, طبعا that has to be proven. When we get to al-Hudud wal-Jinayat, inshallah, towards the end of the book of Fiqh, and we study qatl, right, murder. Murder is not all the same. There is the intentional murder, and there's the one by mistake, al-khata. This is where there's a ikhtilaf, a big disagreement between the fuqaha. Does the one who kills by mistake also get blocked? There's khilaf on this one. What does it mean by mistake? I used a weapon that doesn't usually kill, or I'm driving and I hit someone by mistake. Tamam? This is not amd, okay? Because the Quran talks about وَمَنْ قَتَلَ مُسْلِمًا مُتَعَمِّدًا, on purpose, فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمْ. This is خَالِدًا فِيهَا وَغَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَلَعَنَهُ. It's a very serious offense. But what if someone like Musa alayhi salam, when he killed the Egyptian, what did he use? Machete, yeah. Yeah, something that usually doesn't kill. But مثلا he hit him, or مثلا you push a person, okay, and then he falls, hits his head and dies. Is this, in court, it'll be proven that this was a killing by mistake. It was not I wanted to hurt him, but I didn't want to kill him. But someone stab someone with a knife, this is most likely intentional. Tamam? Yeah.
For number one, why wasiya can be used for freeing the slave, where the inheritance cannot be used for the same purpose?
You mean from his relatives,
Yeah, if he is a slave for somebody, why they don't use that money to slave him,
to free him?
To free him.
Who's he getting the money from?
From his owner.
But he's not related to him. He has no right to inherit.
Yeah, but you said like if he frees him, now if he...
So if there's a freed relative of the slave, that's what you're talking about? Yani, the slave has a freed relative.
No, the slave himself, if the owner freed him, you said he can inherit, right?
So the person who frees the slave, the person who frees the slave, he inherits from the slave if the slave has money. Because he's not a slave anymore.
Oh, it's the other way.
Tamam? But I thought you were going the other way. Yani, what if a slave has a freed relative who passes away? Okay, does he get from him? Is that what you were? I thought that's what you were asking.
Like this, like if he is inherent from somebody, can he use it to free himself?
According to yani, this one, being a slave it blocks you from inheriting. What he would do is he'd probably write a wasiyah. What they would do is they probably write him a wasiyah to free him before he passes away. That's something they would be able to do. Wallahu a'lam. Because the mushkila he cannot own. Sheikh Muhammad, the mushkila he cannot own. Inheritance is transfer of ownership. والعبد cannot own. هذه المشكلة. تمام. In a wasiyah, I'm telling the executor, okay, al-Musa ilayh, I'm telling him go free the slave, yani go pay for his freedom. That's what I'm saying to him. تمام. But as a slave, I cannot transfer your ownership if you cannot own asla. It's almost like transferring ownership to a child. He cannot own at that age. But for him, the wali will.
But if the slave has the money, he can ask his owner, saying, okay, I want to free myself. So
Yeah. The slave, when we get to this, we have a chapter on slavery. So it will come after Faraid. Yeah. So yeah, the slave can work, yani extra work, and make a deal with the owner to free himself. Right? Like the hadith of Barira, that will be like the main hadith that we will discuss about slavery. طيب, so Ar-Riq, Al-Qatl, yeah, Ikhtilaf al-Din. And they say Ikhtilaf al-Din because it goes both ways. If you're a Muslim and wife, father, whatever, any of the inheritors leaves Islam, they cannot inherit. Okay? But what about the other way? And they just a revert just accepted Islam, and their father Warren Buffett passes away. Okay, do they get part of that Tarika? So according to like a large number of fuqaha is no, because there's a hadith about that specifically, that people from two different millas cannot inherit from each other. There is one opinion, some of the fuqaha, they said, if a Muslim passes away, if a Muslim's relative passes away and they have a large sum of money that could benefit Islam, then they might be allowed to take from the inheritance. And it's a minority opinion, but al-asl is that they can't inherit for both ways. Tamam? Either if someone asks you what would block someone from inheritance, we said slavery, killing, okay, and the difference of deen. Tamam?
what source of your money? Like if he's a drug trader or something.
Naam?
So what about the source of the money? If it's totally haram and you know it's haram, can you inherit from that person?
The question is, can you inherit if the deceased's money has a lot of haram in it? So the father and the mother die and they have a mortgage. Okay? Can you take the mortgage?
The children have to repay that. The children have to repay that.
They have to be present?
Repay.
They have to repay it.
Yeah.
كيف يعني repay it?
If the father and mother have the mortgage and the children are there, they have to repay, right?
Shuf, the Sharia does not punish the inheritors because of what the deceased did. Tamam? Then the transfer of money kind of like resets the button, if that makes sense. Tamam? It resets the button. if your father was a drug dealer and he made a lot of money, okay, you had nothing to do with it. He passes away, yeah, you will inherit the money. The transfer will kind of reset or will purify that money because you had nothing to do with it. Same with the house that was on mortgage, مثلا. We would say, yeah, he would get it and he would not be blameworthy for it. But the Sharia would recommend him to pay it off if he can right away or sell it. And not to keep paying interest, yeah, if that makes sense. Yani, this is for the or whatever it is, yani, even if it's something that something that is permissible, whatever it is, يعني he can inherit it, inshallah. طيب. كان في سؤال تفضل.
Like Islam allows a Muslim man to marry a Christian or Jewish woman. So if she passes away, can he inherit her?
Yeah, this is the mas'ala, right? In this case, the majority opinion is that you can't, right? The hadith, the Muslim does not inherit from the disbeliever, and the disbeliever does not inherit from the Muslim. والمشكلة إنه نعم. Yeah. نعم. Yeah. It allows you to marry them, yeah. But do you inherit from them? If we go with the opinion that al-Ikhtilaf al-Din is a mani', then he will not inherit from her.
But there is the other connection, which is the nikah.
The sabab. Yeah, fi sabab.
Yeah, there's
Ahsant.
nikah and you have a man here.
It's a good question. I'm actually now, I'm not sure. So let's look it up, inshallah, and have a definite answer, inshallah, for next meeting. So the question is, someone who is married, okay, you marry a Christian woman, do you inherit from her? That's the question, صح? طيب, inshallah, we'll I don't want to give you wrong information. تفضل.
And also, can he write a wasiyah? Like you married to non-Muslim. So if she can't inherit, you can write a wasiyah for her, okay.
Yeah. So we said that the wasiyah goes to anybody that doesn't inherit. You can give, and the Hanabila, they had a unique opinion that if there's no other inheritors except the husband or wife, you can actually write a wasiyah for them too. That was a Hanbali opinion, because they said that if the husband and wife are the only inheritors, and we're going to learn in a few minutes that the husband and wife have a specific share, and then the residual, the remainder, is going to go to, like maybe the ul-arham or the estate, or the baytul mal, the government. In that case, the Hanabila, they wanted to give some extra leeway for the husband or the wife, so they gave that allowance. But that's a good question, inshallah. I just want to make sure, inshallah, next time, does she inherit or not? Inshallah, we'll answer it. طيب, now we're going to talk about the types of heirs. So now in the books of fiqh, there's different ways of looking at this. So we can look at the male inheritors, female inheritors, okay, and what does each get, or we can look at it from the fractions, okay, the people that get a half, the people that get a quarter, the people that get, etc. طيب. Jamil, everything okay? طيب. طيب, Jamil. So we have number one, the people who get a specific amount, okay, and these are the ones that are mentioned in the verses. So number one, we have Ashab al-Furud. We say Ashab al-Furud, okay, Ashab al-Furud, the ones who get fixed shares, okay, a fixed share, and it's a specific fraction. So these are Ashab al-Furud, and the shares, they are only 6, and we mentioned them in the verses, okay. So we have what? We have the half, okay, Yalla, help me out. Half of the half, a quarter. Half of the quarter, 1/8. Okay? There's only 6. So we have the half of the half, which is the quarter, half of the quarter, which is the 1/8, right? If you don't like fractions, you might get some anxiety here. Okay, because we're going to go through a lot of math. Tamam? طيب, the other 3, so we have 1/2, 1/4, 1/8. The other 3 are the third, a thuluth. What's half of a thuluth? Right? If you want to get a half, it's just 1 over 3 times 1 over 2. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 3 is 6. So 1/6. So half of a third is a sixth. Tamam? So just double the bottom. That's it. That's how you get a half. And then, so we have half, quarter, eighth, third, sixth, and the sixth one is 2 over 3. 2/3. Okay? 2 over 3. So just take a half. Okay? Half it and then half it again. And then take a third, half it, and then you have the 2/3. Okay? Those are the 6 fixed shares in Sharia. There's nothing else. That's it. These are fixed shares. ايش يعني؟ يعني that's exactly what they will get. Okay? This doesn't give us an amount, like a number, but whenever we have the number, we can figure it out from the fraction. Okay? So examples of these people are the husband, the wife, the daughter, the mother, the father, in some cases, the grandmother, the full sister, in some cases, and maternal siblings. They are the ones that are paid first. Because what's going to happen, you're going to see that we have Ashab al-Furud, that's why we're mentioning them first. Ashab al-Furud, okay, fixed shares, these are the ones mentioned in the verses, okay. يوصيكم الله في أولادكم للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين فإن كن نساء فوق اثنتين فلهن ثلثا ما ترك 2/3, okay. وإن كانت واحدة فلها النصف, the half. ولأبويه لكل واحد منهما السدس, 1/6, okay. And then it keeps going, the thuluth for the mother. تمام. طيب. جميل. And then ولكم الربع مما تركتم إن لم يكن لهن ولد. Right? Right? ولكم النصف عفوا ولكم النصف مما ترك. So the husband will get a half if there's no kids, and then if there's kids, a quarter, and then the wife will get a quarter if there's no kids, and an eighth if there are kids. تمام. So those are all the fractions. Okay. تمام. So they will be paid first. Then there's the residual. So the أصحاب العصبة in fiqh they're called al-asaba. طبعا al-asaba in Arabic, what comes to your mind when you say asaba? The group of males, right? These are the ones that usually pay the diya. These are the ones that usually are responsible to take care of the female relatives, right? We say these are the residuary heirs. يعني they get the residual, يعني the leftovers. Okay? Then if we have مثلا a quarter and an eighth and a third or something, okay, and there's something left from those fractions, okay, then they will get the residual. واضح? So a residuary heir may receive all the estate if there are no fixed shares. So this guy could get everything if there's none of the fixed shares people, right? So مثلا there's no father, there's no mother, there's no wife, and there's only a son. The son will get everything because the son is going to be one of those who gets the residuary. So it says here, all residuary heirs may receive all the estate if there are no fixed share heirs. Whatever remains after fixed share heirs receive their portion. Nothing if fixed shares consume the entire estate. Sometimes they will get nothing. Ashab al-asaba. Okay. So example here, wife takes her fixed share, son takes the remainder. Tamam. There's no one from the top. Tamam. So the wife takes her eighth مثلا, okay, because there's a son, and the son will get the rest. This is like a basic example. And he will get the baqi, he will get the remaining. Tamam. تفضل. Yeah. I'm going to show you who the asaba are. Okay. طيب. And the third type, so we said the fixed shares, okay, أصحاب الفروض, al-asaba. The third, and this is rare, is ذوي الأرحام. Okay, the distant, I guess, kindred from the, like, think of cousins and maternal uncles. These ones will only get if basically there's some residuals, and this is rare. So usually they don't inherit. So when we talk about inheritors in a few minutes, they're not there. Okay. So relatives who are neither fixed shares nor residuaries, they inherit only when there are no fixed share heirs or residuaries according to the detailed rules of each madhab. And we'll see inshallah the madhab, they have a difference of opinion. So this is kind of the last resort. And some of the madhab actually they don't give them. They actually give it back to the Baytul Mal. Like these relatives will not get. طبعا they will get from their side, right, from the paternal side of those, for them, but not from the paternal of the deceased.
For those conditions and Asbab and the definition, are all the madhab agreed on, or they are
Generally, the ones that I mentioned, pretty much. There's some ikhtilaf in some cases, okay, but pretty much those are pretty much agreed upon, okay. There's ikhtilaf in some cases where I said about killing by mistake, things. I think most of them are pretty much in accordance. There's not much khilaf in there. طيب. So let's talk about the male inheritors now. Give me some examples, yalla. Let you guys. Some examples. So the male inheritors, in detail, they're 15. Okay? If we go and go through all of them, they're about 15. Yalla, give me some of them, yalla. Bismillah. Son? Father? لا male. أخي, the sisters will come to them, inshallah. Okay? Son, father, what else? Grandfather? Son of the son, so grandson. Uncle, which uncle? We have am, khal, huh? Paternal, al-am. Okay, what else?
Cousin, sometimes.
So, okay, so the son of the am, ibn al-am, the son of the am. Okay. The brother. Nobody wants to give the son of the brother? Oh yeah, the son of the brother. Jameel. Khalas. Where's the other? So we have to also think about the brother. Al-akh li wal-akh li ab. So in cases, it's not very common like nowadays, but you have cases where you have a half brother, they call him. Okay, so you have al-akh al-shaqiq. Okay, akh al-shaqiq يعني from the same parents. Okay, but then you might have a brother. Okay, from the from the same father but different wife. So the father has two wives. Okay, so these are siblings still. Okay, and then you might have a brother from the mother's side. Okay, different father, same mother. واضح? So technically there's 3 brothers. We'll mention those later, inshallah. Let's go through the tree, inshallah. طيب. So I hope you can see that. I tried to fit them in. So I put it this way. Sometimes they'll give you a list of 15. They're like, yalla, memorize them. But I want you to think of it as, as this image. Okay. So let's look at it this way. Okay. Look at the deceased. Okay. Let's go from the top. From the top we have father, al-ab wal-jad. So that's 2. Okay, everyone with me? So go up, father, grandfather. I want you to visualize it. You'll be able to figure out like that. So up we have the father, grandfather. Okay, cool? So that's 2. Let's go down. Now we have the al-ibn wa ibn al-ibn. Son, the son of the son, which is the grandson. Everyone good so far? So you have the father, grandfather, son, grandson. So that's how many? 2 and 2 is 4. We got like 11 left, right? Let's go to the uncle. So on the left side, okay, we have al-am, okay, al-shaqiq, full paternal uncle. We have his son, okay. So the full uncle, paternal uncle, and his son, okay. And then we have al-am li ab. So this is like he's your uncle, he's your paternal uncle. But he's not the full brother of your father. Does that make sense? He's not the full brother of your father. Yani he's a brother of your father from the same father. I know you're gonna get confused, but your father, he has brothers, okay? Not all of them are from the same mother and father. Okay, so one of them, so we're only gonna go to the father's side. So the father had 2 wives, okay? And from the second wife he had a son. That's still your uncle. But it's it's kind of like a half uncle, right? So he's al-am li-ab. Al-am li-ab, okay? Wa ibn al-am li-ab. So we have al-am al-shaqiq, the full uncle and his son, and we have the half uncle and his son. So that's how many? That's 4. Tamam? So 2, 4, and then 4. We're up to 8. Tamam? 8. Go to your right side now. Now we're going to go to the brothers. Remember, this is just males for now. We're going to go to the brothers. We're going to have a full brother, a brother from the mother, a brother from the father, okay? And the sons only of the full brother and the brother from the father. The brother from the mother's side, his children don't take. واضح? So we have al-akh al-shaqiq, full brother, and the son of the full brother. Then we have al-akh li-ab, the paternal brother, and the son of the paternal brother. And then we have al-akh li-um, but not his child, because it's from the mother's side. The mother kind of blocks, okay? Even from the brother's side, we have 5. The 3 brothers and only 2 sons from the full and the half from the father, okay? Then we did 2, 4, and then another 4 from the uncle's side. Okay, so that's 8 plus 5. What are we at now? Huh? 13. We've got 2 left. So in this case here, so obviously the husband is the I guess we killed the husband here, okay? But the husband inherits as well. So the husband is number 14, az-zawj, okay? And the last one down here, al-mu'tiq. Right? So the male person who freed a slave. Do you remember him? So the male person who freed a slave, he also inherits. And then those are the 15. So we did the 13, 2, and then we did 4, 5, and then the husband and the mu'tiq, the one who frees the slave. And then these are 15 male inheritors. واضح? Nobody else will inherit. These are the 15 male inheritors. Tamam.
What's his ratio, the mu'tiq?
What's his relationship?
No, the ratio from that. Half, 6, 10. How much you get?
He's from Ashab al-Asab, I believe. He's from the Ashab al-Asab. Residual. Inshallah, we'll get to it, inshallah. طيب, ready for the female? The female, would you say they're the same or less or more? Less, صح? No, we're talking about how many of them there are. There are 10. So we said 15 for the men, 10 for the women. طيب. For the women, same thing. Okay, go up. We have the mother and we have the 2 grandmothers. The mother and the 2 grandmothers. Female inheritors. يعني who from the woman can inherit? تمام? يعني I died and I have female relatives. Who from my female relatives can inherit? The mother, okay? My jadda, okay? Like the paternal grandmother and al-jadda li-um. Okay? Right. So that's the mother and the 2 grandmothers, that's 3. So from the top there's 3. Then we have the bint wa bint al-ibn. The bint, the daughter, okay, and the daughter of the son, yani granddaughter. Then we have 3 from the top, 2 from the bottom, that's 5. We've got 5 left, right? We go to the sisters, 3 sisters, full sister and the 2 half sisters. So al-ukht al-shaqiqa, al-ukht li-ab, wal-ukht li-um. Okay? So we've got 3 from the top, 2 from the bottom, that's 5, okay? 3 sisters, that's 8. What's left? 2 more. Who are the 2 more? Don't forget the wife, okay? So the zawja. And who's the last one? The mu'tiqa. A female frees a slave, she will inherit from that slave. Okay, a female woman frees a slave, she will inherit. So when Aisha freed Barira, okay, she will inherit from Barira. Okay? Tamam? Then those are the 10 from the woman's side. And so the next thing we wanted to cover, inshallah, we probably start it next week. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the fixed shares and who gets those fixed shares. So then the fixed shares, we have the half, right, and nisf, okay. Who gets the nisf, okay, is the husband the daughter, the son's daughter, the full sister, and the paternal sister. And this is the list that, inshallah, I want you to memorize later. Because you need to know who gets a half. Yani when we have one of these people, you're going to know, okay, this person gets a half. Tamam, right away. So we have the people who get a half. We have the people who get a quarter. The quarter and the eighth are the easiest. Why? The quarter and the eighth are just the husband and wife. Okay? The husband can get a quarter if there's a child. And the wife can get a quarter if there's no child. And the eighth, it's just the wife. The wife if there's a child. That's it. And then the quarter, it's easy. Husband, okay, or wife. And the eighth is just the wife. Nobody else will get it. Tamam. Al-Thuluthan, the 2/3, okay. This is when there's like multiple females. Okay, so multiple daughters, or sons' daughters, or full sisters, or paternal sisters. Okay? فوق اثنتين, right, as the verse mentions. So anytime the girls, there's a bunch of them, they will get a third. Okay? They will get a third. So if you have multiple daughters, they will share, thuluthan, 2/3. Multiple daughters will share the 2/3. Multiple sisters, multiple sons, daughters, they will share the 2/3. طيب. And then a thuluth, okay, the thuluth, if you remember, the mother can get a thuluth. Okay? When does the mother get a thuluth? Do you remember? If there's no child. Okay? And there's no group of siblings. Okay? طيب. So the thuluth is for the mother and also for those maternal siblings if they're more than two. If you remember, وإن كان رجل يورث كلالة. Okay? وإن كانوا أكثر من ذلك فهم شركاء في الثلث. They will share a third. These brothers and sisters. تمام. And then we have the sudus. طبعا the sudus is another larger list. Really the two big lists are the half and the sudus. Okay? So the sudus, the sixth, is the father, the grandfather, the mother, the grandmother, the son's daughter, okay, the paternal sister, and one maternal sibling. So for now, just know the 6 fractions. The half, the quarter, the eighth, the 2/3, the third, and the sixth. They're the only fractions you need to memorize. Memorize them. Okay? So inshallah, in the next session, we're going to go through each one. Okay? So for the half, we're going to go through all 5 of them. Okay? And the dalil for it. How come he gets a half? How come she gets a half? Tamam? And by the end of it, we're going to have a big list. Who are the people of the half? Who are the people of the quarter? Who are the people of the eighth? Who are the people of 2/3? Who are the people of the third? And who are the people of the sixth? So by the end of it, you're going to have, show you the list. You're going to have this list, inshallah. Tamam. So you're going to have all the halves. Okay? You're going to have all the quarters. You're going to have the eighth. You're going to have all the 2/3. Probably write it on a piece of paper, or you can, inshallah, when we get to this, you will have this list. Inshallah. Now you have kind of the basic tools to do the masail. Basic masail. Okay? You're going to have the basic tools of doing the masail. The only thing we have to cover after that, okay, we're going to go through basically the asaba, right? The residual beneficiaries. How does it work? Who, when do they take? Okay? And then we have to talk about al-hajb, who blocks who. And then we're going to talk about the ta'sil of the mas'ala. Okay? How do we figure out the fractions? You're going to have to do some common denominators. Okay? So we have a half, a quarter. We have a half and a quarter. How are we going to figure that out? What are we going to change the fractions to? Out of 4. But we have a half, a quarter, and an eighth. Huh? Jamil, 8. طب we have a half and a sixth and a quarter. 6? No. What about the 4? It's going to be 12. Tamam? What about if we have an 8 and a 6? Huh? Okay, 14. No. Huh? No. Not how are you going to have 12? 8 and a 6. 24. Now, so you have to get the common denominator. You have to go back to your math notes and figure out the common denominator. But when we have the 8th and the 6th, it's going to be 24. Okay, so usually why do we do that? So we can divide it equally. Okay, so we'll have the exact shares, and then we know the residual, inshallah. Tamam. So we'll stop there, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Any last minute questions before we pray Salat al-Maghrib? So, alhamdulillah, today we covered kind of we covered the Arkan, we covered the Shurut, the Asbab, we covered the Mawani, and we talked about the heirs. We have the heirs that get the fixed shares. We have the residual heirs, and we have, who's the third? The Ul-Arham. Okay, those ones get whatever is left. And then we said that there's only how many fractions for the fixed shares? How many? 6 fractions. Okay, can someone say them from memory? Someone? Yeah, yalla, tfaddal. Half. 1/4. Quarter. 1/8. 2/3. 1/6, 1/3. Jameel. Those are the 6 fractions. Tamam? Half, quarter, 1/8, 2/3, 1/3, 1/6. This is your homework. Memorize those 6, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. And then inshallah we will start going through each one of them. All the halves, all the quarters, this list, inshallah we'll go through it one by one and their evidences. All the 8s, all the 2/3, all the 3rd, all the 6th. You will have this list. Inshallah you will memorize it, and then we'll start doing inshallah some questions. Next week we have a guest speaker, inshallah. My friend who studied with me in Riyadh, he'll do a lecture inshallah on the conversation between Adam and the whole the part in Surah Al-Baqarah, the conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the angels. Bi'idhnillah ta'ala, he'll do a tafsir of that. So that's next Saturday. And then inshallah after that, I believe Sheikh Hassan or somebody else will be there for a few weeks. And then we'll come back and continue al-Fara'id. بإذن الله تعالى. بارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله